The gospel of our Lord. Many of us bend the rules at some time or one another in our lives. It could be something relatively small or not so small. We do it because it seems to be more convenient and less of a hassle to do something that we think that no one will discover or know about. For example, we don't come to a full stop at a stop sign. We drive over the speed limit. We take that extra stroke in golf. We put that extra fish in our bag. We shun the homeless and believe that they are their own or someone else's problem. Maybe some of us have done things a lot worse than that. In other words, acting this way, we try to live our life on our own terms. We don't think about the potential consequences or the harm to others or ourselves. We don't consider the fact that things can go terribly wrong or that what could happen if everybody did the exact same thing. Unfortunately, too many people want to practice religion on their own terms as well. They choose a religion that accommodates them or their lifestyle. They keep those covenants and observances that are convenient to them. They disregard certain commandments or rationalize behavior that breaks other commandments. Worst of all is that they keep the letter of the commandments, but then choose to close themselves off to everything that the gospel demands. They refuse to see the relationship between the gospel and the commandments. And they justify themselves by saying they're not going to get caught or arrested, or that everybody else is doing it. In the first reading from Exodus, we heard that God gave the 10 Commandments to the chosen people. Some of the 10 Commandments are very straightforward, but some of them are further nuanced to be sure that people understood how they applied in their lives. Not only was the worship of another god forbidden, but so was having images of these deities, and that was also forbidden. God didn't even allow an image of himself. He said it was beyond his imagination and comprehension that someone would want to have an idol. In the gospel reading from John, Jesus drives out the money changers and the sellers of the sacrificial animals from the temple precincts. Everything that was going on in that outer court was wrong. Besides the complete lack of reverence, the religious leaders profited by renting out the space. The money changers cheated people, trying to buy the unblemished animals that they needed for their sacrifice. When Jesus saw all of this, he reacted exclaiming, "Zeal for your house has consumed me," as he spun around his homemade whip. He found things absolutely intolerable, like desecrating a sacred temple with cheap commercialism. And when confronted by the religious authorities he asked for a sign, Jesus predicted his own resurrection in very symbolic terms. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise again." The Jewish religious leadership had accommodated religion to suit themselves and to justify themselves. But they couldn't accept Jesus because he didn't fit into their plan, their paradigm. They were very happy how things were going, and they didn't need anyone to mess up the deal that they had going. So following Jesus' example, his zeal, here's a Lenten question that we really don't think about that often. What gets your moral dander up? Or maybe more honestly, what doesn't and should? After all, we're all going to be judged on our moral crusades. And Lent is a good time to look at things and say, what makes us morally mad to the point of doing something about it? Or to look at our failure to get mad and do something about it. For example, pro-life issues, abortion, capital punishment, assisted suicide, euthanasia, human rights, racial justice, climate change, homelessness, gun violence, hunger. That list goes on and on and on. Are you morally outraged about those? What can you do to make a difference? How are you going to make the world a better place? How did you make that world a better place? Because of your faith. Have you put your beliefs in action? When Lent is over and that resurrection time is at hand, we want to be able to stand in front of God happily with that banner that proclaims, "Zeal for your house has consumed me. I have been a good and faithful servant." I don't know if I'm going to be able to say that. What about you?